Okay, so my last personal resisting story. And this was from a retreat I had done a couple of years ago in Nepal. So I was at a Buddhist monastery doing a 1 month long private retreat. So this isn't like other retreats where you're with a group of people and you're going to a hall and meditating with them all day and listening to talks and taking your meals, etc. This is where you're on your own. So there was a separate building where those of us that were doing private retreats were being where we stayed, and in our rooms we had a little alcove for our meditation practice, for where we would sit, and we were meant to just be there basically all day by ourselves doing our practice. And some of the people even had their meals delivered to them. I did go up to the dining hall for my meals. I needed a little bit of exercise, but in any case, so these are tough retreats. They're not easy retreats. I mean, you have to apply to be able to do a month-long retreat on your own. So the first few days are going pretty well. Remember, I have a little bit of the dopamine rush because it's new and it is a little exciting. I had always wanted to go to this monastery, and it was nice. And so the first few days I'm getting into my practice. I'm starting to develop my schedule of my sitting practices and when I'm going to study and when I'm going to do some yoga. And so so a few days go in, and it was probably about the fifth or the sixth day that I just finished my morning sitting. And I don't know, this thought just popped into my head about, okay, I'm at that, let's call it the sixth day. So I'm at the sixth day and I have 24 days left. So, okay, I'm doing pretty good. And then all of a sudden I realized, I'm like, oh, hang on, this is August. There's 31 days in August. So, okay, so it's 25 days. And then I realized, I'm like, but I'm not leaving on August 31st. I'm leaving September 2nd. So, oh my God, the days keep getting, the retreat kept getting longer and longer. Within just a couple of minutes, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm almost going backwards now. And in that moment, my mind just spiraled out of control. And the enormity of the retreat was starting to hit me. And realizing, like, I'm just here in this room by myself all day long meditating. And it just felt too much. And my mind was putting up so much resistance to it that I didn't think I could handle it in that moment. So, my heart's beating fast, right? I'm stressing myself out. My blood pressure is up. I'm sweating. I'm starting to run through scenarios like, okay, can I just take a taxi back down to Kathmandu? Maybe I'll stay the rest of the time in Kathmandu, or maybe I'll fly back to Dubai and I'll just stay the rest of the month there. And so my mind's just spiraling out of control and going in all these different directions. And I was really near having a panic attack. And then I had this moment of clarity in the form of a question. Is this moment okay? And I thought about it for a moment. I'm like, is this moment okay? And the tigers that I was creating in my mind started to go back, and I was like, yeah, you know what? This moment is okay. And then I waited for a few more minutes, and I asked myself again, is this moment okay? I was like, yeah, this moment's okay. And so it was near, I think at that point then I'd gone up to have breakfast in the dining hall. And every few moments or minutes or so, I would just check in and, yeah, this moment's okay, everything's all right. And then after breakfast, I decided I would go and sit in the stupa gardens. I thought maybe a little sunshine might be a good idea as well. So I went and sat on this bench in the stupa gardens. And I wasn't reading anything. Of course, you could only be reading Buddhist texts. But I wasn't reading anything. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't meditating. I was just sitting there. And then at that point, maybe every 10, 15 minutes, I would just ask myself, is this moment okay? And say, yeah, this moment is okay. And then for the next 30 hours, if I wasn't eating, in the dining hall, eating a meal or sleeping, I sat on that bench so completely content and present and peaceful because I was in the moment. And it was just, for me at that point, I couldn't believe the amount of peace that I was experiencing in that moment. And then afterwards, after lunch the next day, I decided I would go back to my room and start doing my practice again. But it was a really big insight for me to see again one of those teachings I'd heard again and again, that it wasn't that, because remember, I was doing fine after my morning sitting. It was the thoughts that started spiraling out of control. Because it's usually not that this moment is so bad. It's the thought about the next moment that we think we can't handle. It's like if we're experiencing some pain. Typically in that moment, it's okay. It's the thought about, but how will I handle it in the next moment when we're feeling ill, or something, we're feeling sad, or we're going through a rough time. We can handle that moment. It's the enormity of how we think we're going to handle it in the future that starts to spiral us out of control and create all these fears and worries and resistance, making the situation worse. And so seeing that, really seeing that, having that deep insight into it, like, yeah, I saw my mind spiral completely out of control, and all it took was 4 simple words. Is this moment okay? And to bring me back into the present moment. So that is, and in fact, and I give this teaching whenever, wherever I am, live or in this course, because this is such an important thing for us to remember. It's not usually that this moment's wrong. It's the fear of the next moment that we start resisting. So I'd really encourage you to write it out on a sticky note. Just put it in a few different places. Is this moment okay? Is this moment okay? To keep reminding yourself, it's such a quick way to just bring yourself back here and to go, yeah, this moment is okay. Right? When you're feeling a little bit bored, right? Then the mind spirals out again. Oh, I'm going to be bored forever. But just to ask yourself, is this moment okay? Oh yeah, I mean, boredom is not the worst thing in the world. We act like, our world's coming to an end. I'm bored, nothing's entertaining me. But just keep checking in. Is this moment okay? Our thoughts create the tigers, right? Our thoughts make things scarier than they really are. Our thoughts about the future, our thoughts about resisting the future. So just asking ourselves, is this moment okay, is a wonderful way to just bring ourselves right back into the present moment.